hard work and determination of our area athletes. This is The Score on WQAD News 8.
Good evening and welcome to The Score Sunday. Coaching vacancies continue to be filled around the area. That was one of the biggest stories from this past week. Coming up tonight, we'll hear from the new Rock Island football coach, Fritz Dieudonne. He talks about making the move cross town from Alleman to Rock Island and what his time at Alleman meant to him. Our FCA Story of the Week features a Princeton soccer player that is overcoming some adversity to become the all-time leading scorer, and we'll find out where some talented student athletes will be going next year. But we start tonight with Sports Director Matt Randazzo and Fritz Dieudonne.
Thanks, Corey. There's a new head coach, a familiar face at Rock Island High School. Fritz Dieudonne joining us now. And first and foremost, Coach, congratulations. You're the head coach of the Rock Island Rocks. When you hear that, what does that mean to you?
And it is, unreal, I guess is the best way to describe it. To consider how long Rocky has been playing football and to be at what I still think is the premier program in the area. Obviously, everybody has their own favorites, but I think when it comes down to, you think about the quote-unquote powerhouses of the Quad City football, the legacies,
sure.
You know, the football blue bloods in the area. On the Illinois side of the river, Rocky's up there, you know. So to be able to be back at Rocky, and I think a lot of it for me, you know, in 2017 when I joined Rocky, I had mentally stopped thinking about being a head coach. So to be back at that program and a place that I've got great respect for,
sure.
Great tradition, it's thrilling.
Yeah,
it's
you mentioned it because you were at Rock Island 2017 to 2021, and we talked the other day. You started there as a kind of a volunteer assistant because that's what you just wanted to be at Rock Island. You knew then and there that's where your heart kind of was.
Yeah, and a lot of it is, you know, so my wife and I, we meet at St. Ambrose. She's a Davenport native, but when we were looking for where we were going to set our roots, the more we looked at the Quad Cities and where homes we could buy, like the better we felt about Rock Island.
Sure.
You know, so we get married in 2005, and
she's put up with you for that long?
I know, for that long. Well, if you can go back, yeah. And actually, I'm going to get some brownie points because it's our anniversary, April 30th.
Fantastic.
So
look at you.
I'm telling you, man.
Yeah.
It's that Ambrose advantage.
Exactly. It always shines. It shines.
So when we were searching for a home and we were trying to figure out where in the Quad Cities we were going to live, Rock Island made sense to us, you know. So from 2005 on, we're like, that's where we got married, and we said we were going to set our roots in Rock Island. We're going to raise our family in Rock Island. So although I'm not a Rock Islander by birth, but by choice, that's where we decided we were going to live. So it's just, again, it's just a great place to be. And the personality of the city, the chip that Rock Island has on their shoulder, it fits me, and it's my personality. I identify with what it means to be a Rock Islander.
Sure. We'll talk a little more about Rock Island in a second, but we met 2 years ago when you were taking the job at my alma mater, at Alleman High School. And I know while people look at this and they're like, it's kind of a no-brainer because Rock Island is Rock Island and all that kind of stuff, it was bittersweet for you because you spent 2 years at a school that's going through some tough times, and times are getting better, and you're a big part of that. So I know that you put your heart and soul into Alleman, and that was kind of bittersweet for you as well.
Yeah, you know, my entire tenure there, I would tell people all the time, you know, I don't know if the Lord has me at Alleman because he wanted Alleman to work on me or for me to work on Alleman. I couldn't figure out why Grant Isles, the AD at the time, why he randomly reached out to me, and why I accepted. You know, because I've told folks I walked in there. Although I didn't know the entire story, but I walked in there eyes wide open. You know, I did some homework before I walked in there because it was such an odd thing to have Alleman really go outside the family to find their next football coach. When you consider the direct line from Coach Tracy to Coach Jager to Coach Porter,
Yeah.
and I think there's one other coach I'm spacing on their name in that group.
Coach Just.
Coach Just.
Yes.
So you're talking about from the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah.
Till 2021, there had been 4 coaches, and it's just this lineage, right? So I knew walking in that, you know, the opportunity that I was getting at Alleman had a lot to do with some of the changes that were there, good and or bad. That it was an opportunity that for me, again, I felt I didn't know if that was for my benefit. If it was to challenge me as a man, if it was to challenge me as a coach, or if it was me and what I could bring to Alleman to help them through really the storm that was brewing. So yeah, it's bittersweet because for everything that I'd asked those young men to do, everything that the families, they embraced me from jump. You know, it wasn't, and I never at one point ever felt unwelcome there. The excitement that they had a football coach, and that they had somebody that cared for their sons. And at the root of it, that's what it was, right? It's families, it's administrators, it's teachers that saw their students going through something that was no making of their own. And they have someone that walked in that cared for their child, cared for their students. So it was tough. But it's the piece for me. It's knowing, okay, I got this opportunity now. I almost didn't apply. You know, I almost didn't apply for the, you know, realistically thinking, all right, look, man, you've been wanting a job.
Your dream job.
You got a job. You know, like, don't be greedy. Literally, like, don't be greedy, right? And be happy with the fact that you were in a place, but it goes back to this pull and this connection I had with Rocky. And, you know, my daughter is going to be a freshman. My oldest, Lauren, is going to be a freshman. And, you know, they do the preparing to see who's going to make the flag corps in the band. And, you know, she made it. And she was all excited about how she made it. And, you know, I was down. It's like I was excited, but I was down because the reality is I'm like, well, I'm going to be in football, you know. And I remember Steph, my wife, says, well, at least this year, with you guys playing a JV schedule, you'll be able to catch some of her performances because you got to play on Monday night. I'm like, you know what? That's true. But in the back of my mind, once Rocky came back around, I'm like, well, this is an opportunity I had to go for because now I'm there every day. I'll be able to support them, and my other 2 daughters, you know, Morgan and Cameron, in a blink of an eye, will be walking the halls there. They're involved like crazy also, where it may be, hey, I'm running late because I'm going from the practice field to go watch basketball or volleyball, but I'm there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome. Hey, we're going to take a quick break, and we're going to have much more with Fritz Dieudonne in a second. We'll talk about what Rocky can expect over the next couple of years. We'll do that right here on The Score.
The Score continues on WQAD News 8.